What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Paradise Valley. This is episode number 6. In today's episode, we're going to be working on the Pink Diamond Hotel and Casino, which I talked a little bit about in the last episode. It's based on the Flamingo Hotel in Las Vegas. And you saw me placing the actual towers for the hotel and casino. And you see me working on this pedestrian mall that's in between the Pink Diamond Casino and the Link Casino. And the Link Casino, which I'll be working on in the next episode. But you'll see a few glimpses of it during the time lapses for this episode. And what I've started to do is to put together the episodes in a way that may not exactly be in chronological order. So you're seeing things that I worked on before or before I recorded the last episode. I'm trying to cut everything up, so each episode you only see me working on one casino. And this episode is only going to be the Pink Diamond Casino, although I've already started working on the Link Casino. But I've cut all of that out and moved that to the next episode. Also, Paradise Valley is becoming the primary or flagship series for this channel. Bluff City is kind of taking a backseat for right now, so it may be a while before I get around to recording any episode of Bluff City. And the only reason behind that is because for some reason, and I've talked about this before, for some reason in Bluff City, the Find It mod, the search box is not visible, which makes it impossible to browse growable residential, commercial, industrial buildings. And it just makes it impossible to actually place things without knowing exactly the name of the building is. And so for that very reason only, I'm not going to be working on Bluff City for a while. I played around with subscribing and unsubscribing to different things, and I've tried a lot of different things, and for whatever reason I can't get it to appear when I'm playing in Bluff City. So the only time for right now that I'm going to be dealing with Bluff City is when there's an asset that I need to detail or to take screenshots of that really wouldn't fit in Paradise Valley. I think if that were to happen with this series, it wouldn't be as big of a deal just because I played the two cities so differently. With Paradise Valley, I'm not going to be looking for a lot of growable buildings or things that I'm not too familiar with. Of course, a lot of the assets that I'm placing are custom assets, so it's really not a big deal with browsing and looking for things that I'm not too familiar with. Again, as I said, the Pink Diamond Casino is based on the Flamingo Casino in Las Vegas. And you can see here the Flamingo Hotel, as well as the Link Casino that I'm going to be working on in the next episode, as well as the High Roller Ferris wheel in the background there. You also see that there's a huge ass picture of Donnie and Marie Osmond on the outside of the hotel. But I definitely didn't want them to be featured that prominently on the outside of the Pink Diamond Hotel. I'll also put up an image of the Flamingo Garden area just so you can look at. I didn't have as much space inside of the Pink Diamond Courtyard just because I was working around existing assets. And I don't really have anything else to say about that. I'm really just putting that up because in going back and rewatching, I had about a gap of a minute and a half that I needed to fill. So right now I'm really just filling in time. So back to the audio that I recorded yesterday. I don't know what was going on, but something was wrong with my mic. So in the time lapse, you can see that I've just been detailing the area around the Pink Diamond. Right here, I really didn't like the size of this road. I felt like it really needed to be a little bit smaller or a lot smaller. So I decided to just delete the whole thing, which then in turn I had to go back and add more tile to the sidewalk area and then rearrange some more trees. I'm using this brick herringbone decal, and it's quickly becoming my favorite decal to use. And I'm not just saying that because I made it, but it's a really good looking decal. So in addition to that, I'm also using the lighter version just to kind of break up the tile some. And I'm also using this other decal just to give it a little more upscale look. Even though the Flamingo Hotel in Las Vegas is definitely not the most upscale hotel on the strip. I've also started to make a lot of different of these billboards to place around the area. And I think that just really helps a lot to sell the idea of a Las Vegas area versus just kind of having advertisements for Subway and McDonald's and AT&T. In the time lapse, again, you can see me dragging pedestrian paths through buildings, so it makes it look like the Sims are actually walking in and out of the buildings that may not have a function. And so I'm using this door for the Oasis Hotel, and I really like this asset because it just opens up a lot of different other options as far as creating entrances on buildings where there may not be an entrance at. So I think I do want to spend more time creating some props and assets like that represent different doors and entrances. So right here, I'm really starting to work on detailing the pink diamond garden. Again, I'm using some of the Oasis props and buildings that I created for that build. I'm using the Oasis pool here. You might have seen during the time lapse, I originally had 2 pools, but the 2 together were just too big for the area. Initially, I wanted to create a different pool for the Pink Diamond Hotel, but when I looked at the pool that I already had, it was just too similar to what I would create anyway, and so I decided it just wasn't worth the time to create something that's visually the same anyway. I think I kind of struggled with making the garden as tropical as I initially wanted it to be, but overall I'm pretty pleased with what I came up with. I really struggled with incorporating the parking lots and just the props that are on these buildings that I got from the workshop, like these residential buildings, which represent a smaller hotel on the outside of the Flamingo or Pink Diamond Hotel. And they just have these parking lots with hedges and trash and different things around them. And so at some point, I just decide to either incorporate them into the build or just ignore them. I think some of the parking lots I just decided to place trees over and to ignore and to just kind of pretend like they're not there. I don't want to criticize anybody's assets or the props that they use. I know that some YouTubers can be a little critical about the extra parking added to assets. But one thing that you have to keep in mind is a lot of these assets were made to fit in with the vanilla game. And at the time, I know especially for myself at the time that I was making some of my assets, a lot of the mods, we just didn't have, like the Move It mod, the ability. Actually, I think some of my assets, I don't even think more beautification was a thing. You couldn't even place props inside of the game. And so the way that assets were made was that you wanted to include a lot of these things that you couldn't do in game. But now that the way that the game is played is kind of different, I think a lot of the new assets are being made differently to not include a whole lot of extra props that really have nothing to do with the asset. I'm using a lot of this vanilla tile just because I think it really works well. I'm also using the wall rock asset to kind of fence off some of the nature areas. Don't know if you noticed during the time lapse, but you might have seen me replacing some of the tower buildings, which is not unusual. And the way that I have to do this series is I have to detail in a way that allows for me to change and move buildings. So I can't do a lot of sinking or elevating props that may mess up in the end. I usually have to place buildings several times just because at the same time that I'm detailing and working on the area, I'm also off camera. I'm still working on the buildings. So through the course of one time lapse, you're probably seeing 3 or 4 different versions of the same building. Even though I consider myself finished with the Pink Diamond Hotel and Casino with the detailing part, I'm not actually sure if this building that you see here is the final build of the tower. And it is really just a recolored version of my Oasis tower that's been scaled down a little bit. I did go back and make some changes to the building, and I still have a little playing around to do with it. I'm not exactly sure that I'm going to release it to the workshop though. I know that the Pink Diamond logo or sign that you see me placing on top of the buildings, I'm definitely not going to be uploading that to the workshop. That sign in itself has about 6,000 triangles, and editing 3D text or optimizing it is really tedious because you have to go around each and every curve and take out lines and triangles and everything. It's a really tedious process. It's definitely worth it in the end to get the number of triangles down, because on a 3D text prop, you can cut the number of triangles down from 2,000 to about 300 or 400 triangles, and visually in game, you can't tell the difference. Again, it just takes a long time and it's tedious and boring. So for this Pink Diamond logo, I've just decided, hey, that's not something that I really want to do. And it just has so many unnecessary curves and triangles and extra stuff that I don't really want to fool with. And I really never want to look at it again. I don't know if some of y'all noticed, but I also had to replace the Oasis pool because I ended up using the wrong version. I ended up using a local version that was incomplete. So for me to do a series like this, it's a lot of extra steps and a lot of different challenges that I have as far as creating a lot of the custom content. But in the end, it's definitely worth it, because with this series, you're going to see things that you can't see with other Cities Skylines series on YouTube. So it's definitely good to be able to provide some different type of content. Overall, it's really coming together, especially as you can see with the night shots. It's really starting to give me a Las Vegas feel. Sims are starting to walk up and down the strip. And so the series, I feel like, is really starting to pick up right now. So here I'm back to detailing this pool area behind this smaller hotel. And I'm basically just reusing a lot of the same details and props that I use for the Oasis Hotel and Casino. Here you see me really trying to work around and disguise some of the elements from the asset that I talked about earlier. And right here I was just looking for any building to finish off the Pedestrian mall. And so I decided to go with this building. It's a vanilla commercial building. I think it fits within the area for like a restaurant or a daiquiri bar that's at the end of the Pedestrian mall. In the end, I decided to put a couple of these Margaritaville signs that I created on top of the restaurant, again with a couple of pink umbrellas. If you saw during earlier in the time lapse, you see me placing different umbrellas. I have to place like 1 million different umbrellas to get 4 or 5 of the same color, which is the primary reason I hate working with color variations with props in this game, because you can't choose particular color. You have to place like each and every color several times just to get the color that you want. So I would rather make completely different props, like a red umbrella and blue umbrella separately, versus having one umbrella that has multiple color variations. So for the rest of the time lapse, I'm gonna be working on an industrial backlot area for the Pink Diamond and Almar City Hotel and Casino. In real life on Google Maps, I couldn't really discern a area like this, but I figured, there had to be somewhere for storage and trucks and everything to go. And I'm really improvising a lot for this area. You can see me just copying and pasting whole sections of detail from the Oasis. And a lot of it that I'm doing may not really make a whole lot of sense in real life, but I really don't care about that. I'm not really interested in making sure a semi-truck can round certain corners or has enough space to fit in between a certain section or anything like that. It's really just to add some extra detail, especially because a lot of the time I spent on the Oasis Hotel was detailing these different backlot areas for storage and deliveries and everything. And I figured there had to be some area like this for these sets of casinos. So again, I'm really just making a lot of it up. I don't know how much sense that would make to have deliveries in the back of a parking garage, but it's just a game, so it's not something that I'm overly focused on. Right now, I'm just really enjoying what I'm creating for this series. In the next episode, I'm going to be working on the Link Hotel. For the Link Hotel and Casino, I decided to go ahead and keep the name in real life. I think it used to be called the Quad, but I actually like the name the Link, so I just decided to go ahead and keep that. And I think the tower that I'm building for that is definitely going to be one of the best assets that I've had in a while. Not that all of my assets aren't great, because they absolutely are, but I think this one is going to be really popular. It seems like glass towers are everybody's favorite in the workshop, so this one is definitely going to be incredible, and I can't wait to put the finishing touches on it and for y'all to see it in the next episode. Again, if y'all look really close or pause the time lapse, you can see it. Or y'all can follow me on Twitter. I post a lot of different teasers and upcoming projects that I'm working on. For the cinematics for this episode, what I did is I deleted everything that I've already started working on for the next episode, so that the cinematics only focus on the Pink Diamond and what I did for this episode. Of course, I don't save the game after I finish recording the cinematics, so once I load the game back up, everything is firmly in place. So for the remainder of this episode, I'm really just adding some decals and some minor details to really round the whole area off. So I hope y'all really enjoyed this episode. I really had a good time making it. I'm really looking forward to the next episode. So I hope all y'all will subscribe so that you don't miss an episode. Hit the bell icon so that you're notified whenever I do upload. And as a reminder, go ahead and hit the like button. It doesn't take a whole lot of time for y'all to do. It's really appreciated. So go ahead and take care of that for me. As always, if you have any feedback for me or any questions, you can leave a comment here on YouTube. You can follow me on Twitter or on Facebook at King Leno. You can also subscribe to me on the Steam Workshop and support me on Patreon. The links are in the description. I really enjoyed the feedback that I get from y'all, the good and the bad. But hopefully I will see everybody in the next episode.